Hello everybody, it's been a little while since I've made a video, and today we're going to talk about an anime that I adore and one that is extremely short actually, and that is Fully Cooley, otherwise known as FLCL. So, here's the deal. Neon Genesis Evangelion would probably be number 5 on my top 5 anime lists, and while it definitely is the driver in that spot, Fully Cooley would be the passenger. You see, Fully Cooley was made by the creator of Evangelion, Anno, his protege, and this show is it's pretty short. It's only 6 episodes, and it moves along at a pretty quick pace. However, it happens to be one of my favorites. So, let's jump right into this and get to talking about the story. This Fully Cooley focuses on only a few characters, and it's more or less a coming of age story with a lot of random wackiness. It's really crazy. Over the top action, over the top pretty much everything. I mean, the only constant is that our main character's desire for things to be normal, and because of that he can kind of come off as emotionally detached. He's a more relatable and normal Shinji and because of that, he's more average, and it's easier to relate to his desire for his life to be normal and for him to, try and be his own person and, find his place in the world kind of thing. And so he's visited by this space pirate on the look for, somebody else, and it's really, there's a lot of crazy shenanigans, there's a lot of, what the fuck moments in this show, and, it's quite funny, but buried beneath all this crazy shenanigans and this character's almost sort of detached demeanor it's got a heart, and it's definitely in the right place. One example is there's a baseball episode where our main character is having trouble, being like his older brother who went overseas to play baseball. He's not very good, and our lovely Miss Space Pirate tries to teach him how to swing a bat. And part of the reason this is so endearing is because it's just a very sweet moment, and the other reason is because he sort of has a crush on her. And actually, at the end of that episode, he ends up falling asleep in her lap while riding home with her on the Vespa that she pilots around. She's an eccentric one, but it's a very sweet moment. Now, this moment is immediately countered with her laughing maniacally, but it's still very sweet. So, overall, that's pretty much the gist of the story without really getting into too many specifics. So with that, let's move right along to the art stylings of the show. It's nice, though it could be quite polarizing, and I can understand that. You see, with Fully Cooley, it's a Gainax production, much like Evangelion and Gurren Lagann. And more like Gurren Lagann than Evangelion. It's very colorful, very bright, and very vibrant. But at times, it gets kind of experimental with the way it animates itself, and in a good way. You see, and I feel like this is partially and most likely due to budget constraints, but also it's just the way that they allow themselves to make the characters move without, putting a bunch of money into animation, and it kind of gives it a more unique flair. You see, the characters kind of become like if you break an egg on a pan and you let the yolk run, taking the outline away and letting the colors kind of run and bend a little bit. It's kind of gives it a flair of its own, and really it makes a lot of things look really, really awesome. However, like I said, it could be kind of polarizing. I could definitely see some people not really liking this style. However, for me, it gave the anime its own personality and uniqueness, and really kind of bolstered it up a level for me. I mean, the story and the way it's set up alone is pretty good, but the fact that it has this unique atmosphere to it, as well as this unique artistry, makes it much more of an interesting world, because it feels familiar and yet alien. so you're more interested in what's going on within it. So that's how I feel about the art. So, quickly, let's talk about the music in this show. See, the music in this show is created by a J-rock band called The Pillows. The Pillows, to me, are almost like a Japanese Weezer. They kind of have that kind of vibe to it, but they have moments where I can see them being like more structured Pavement. They're an alternative rock band, and I feel like they used a different song for pretty much like new songs for every episode, but the ending theme, Ride On Shooting Star by The Pillows, was pretty prevalent throughout the show. And really, I feel like because of the way that this show's set up, with our Vespa riding space pirate being a bass player, and the kind of spastic craziness of this show, coupled with the heart and the sincerity it also displays, I feel like a band that can like The Pillows, that has that kind of humorous kind of edge to them, as well as kind of that alt rock grandiose sincerity that everybody loves, really is a nice fit for this show, and I don't think I'd change it for the world. In another show, it probably wouldn't work as well, and actually with any other soundtrack, this show might not work as well. So The Pillows do a great job with their music being selected for the show. So, final verdicts, and wow, this was a quick one. What can you expect when the anime is only 6 episodes? It's a really good show. There are a lot of really good characters, though there are only maybe 2 or 3 that you should really pay any attention to, and that being our main character and the Vespa riding space pirate. Those 2 are really more of a central focus, but even so, the other characters do add humor or other such things to the show, such as the man with the cardboard eyebrows. They're all really good contributions that contribute to the atmosphere of the show, as well as help push the story along and give us more of a visual and representation of our main character. See, with Fully Cooley, a lot is shown to you through the way the character interacts, as well as with internal monologue and stuff as well, so there is some telling, but a lot of it is the way the character acts and goes about his day-to-day life, whereas in Neon Genesis Evangelion, a lot is explained to you through exposition. So there's a lot more showing in Fully Cooley, and because of that, because it's so short, it can feel really spastic, and because it's all so compressed, because they have, in 6 episodes, for you to be able to connect with a character for 30-minute episodes, nonetheless, it takes a lot, and so a lot has to happen. So the fact that they can pull that off, have a lot happen, and keep the expositional phrasing to a minimum, so you don't feel like they're telling you everything, just handing it to you instead of showing you this character, what he goes through, and who he is really something interesting. Which again is why I say this would definitely ride the passenger with Neon Genesis. So, that being said, any complaints that I have with Fully Cooley are that, yes, there are times when the show is almost a little too much. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Like I said, it is a coming-of-age story, and at its heart it is. But at the same time, it is supposed to be spastic and fun, and sometimes it doesn't always hit you. It's not always, something you just want to sit down and watch because of how crazy it can be, but at the same time, it is something that, especially the first time through, is really interesting and really fun. And because of how compressed it can be, when you watch it through again, you might find something new, which, again, keeps it interesting and fun. Another complaint I have is simply that the show was short. At the end of the show, I did feel a connection to the characters, and I didn't want it to be over, but at the same time, thinking that in 6 episodes they could do that, hell, if they would have made it 12, I might have cried. So, it would have been a little more interesting to see them push it a little bit longer. but at the same time, it might have worn its jokes, it might have worn itself thin, so I don't know. That's just a personal thing. Overall, though, Fully Cooley is a top-notch recommendation for anybody, and I would even go as far to say is it's something that you should show somebody that's kind of into anime. I wouldn't say show this to a beginner. It might scare them off, but somebody who has been getting into anime and starting to get into some more of the stuff, this would be something I would show them. In fact, this would be what I would show them before Neon Genesis, because it's a lot easier to like. There are moments of tenderness and sincerity, but without the emotional heartache and the psychoanalysis that goes on. So, overall, it's a fun ride, it's a good ride, and it's pretty touching at times. Fully Cooley, top recommendation. Tell your friends about it, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out now. Anyway, guys, sorry it's been so long. I'll try and put out more videos more frequently. But that's the Vault Dweller with anime reviews. Over and out.